Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, guest speakers, and Senior Parliamentary Secretary for Sustainability and the Environment, Bae-Yam Kang, our guest of honor, for taking the time to be here with us this Friday afternoon for the official launch for Sustainability Exchange Season 3. My name is Erin, Program Manager at EB Impact, the nonprofit arm of EcoBusiness, set up to create and deliver programs to Asia Pacific's underserved communities. We are excited to share with all of you the exciting plans we have for the upcoming season of Sustainability Exchange. Sustainability Exchange is a youth mentorship program curated for youths in Singapore to drive capability and knowledge development in the areas of sustainability. The initiative has also provided a platform to forge meaningful relationships among promising individuals in the public, private, and civic society sectors that will provide fresh and new thinking on green growth and sustainable development models for Singapore's future. I would like to start off by thanking our strategic partners, Meta, who has come on board to support this initiative for a third season. OCBC Bank, who are also returning as strategic partners for a second season, and NUS strategic partners SG EcoFund for all your support. I would also like to thank Temasek Shophouse for being our venue sponsors for this event and for providing this beautiful space for us today. Today's proceedings are also being live streamed on Zoom. I hope you can all participate in today's lively discussion by adding your thoughts into our chat boxes, and we will also have an interactive Q&A session later during our panel discussion. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Diane Anderson, Associate Director at EB Impact, to give the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Erin, and good afternoon, everybody. Senior Parliamentary Secretary for Sustainability and the Environment, Mr. Bae-Yam Kang, distinguished speakers, guests, and our EB Impact community, a warm welcome to you all. Thank you for being here with us this afternoon for this special occasion as we mark the third season of the Sustainability Exchange program. Allow me to share a little bit more with you about the history of this program. The program was dreamt up and designed and launched at a time of the global pandemic when it was gripping the world. So we wanted to create this program during a time when there was a lot of uncertainty and fear. We wanted to create a program that would inspire action and agency. One that would bring energy of youth and channel it towards solutions that would support us in reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. Hence, the Sustainability Exchange program was conceptualized, and it focused on youth and education. 2 out of the 3 of EB Impact's strategic focus areas, the third being nature-based solutions. In the first year, we had an overwhelming number of responses. We had set an initial target of 50 youths, but we were overwhelmed with a number of applications of 146 youths, 59 mentors, and from a wide range of organizations from all different walks of life. In our second edition, we received 200 applications, and we onboarded 43 youths and 11 mentors, where these 11 teams then focus on finding solutions to support Singapore's Green Plan. In the past 2 years, the program has allowed for 32 wonderful creative solutions to emerge, and which ranges from food waste management to enhancing sustainability reporting to accelerating sustainable innovation and development in Singapore. And many of these organizations are still underway, having secured funding from a wide variety of different sources, some of them of which you will hear from later today. Along the way, the EB Impact team has gained many lessons, what worked and what didn't work. Together with our strategic partner Meta, who has joined us in this journey from the very first season, we took these feedbacks and these insights from our pilot program and we incubated it further. We want to thank Meta, the Meta team, who are not here today, unfortunately, for their support in this meaningful program so far. Alongside this, in the Season 2 edition, we also secured funding from OCBC Bank, who funded 5 of the top projects from the Season 2 edition. I would like to thank the OCBC team for being a wonderful strategic partner so far, and for again committing for a second year running up to $50,000 to up to 5 teams for this coming season. Today, we are also excited and proud to be launching the 3rd edition of the Sustainability Exchange with 3 focus pillar areas. Our first pillar is the continuation of our youth mentorship program. Our second pillar is the new involved capacity building program, where this year we will be running 3 workshops with the support of our strategic partner, MSC EcoFund, to upskill youths on sustainability and sustainable development topics. And our third pillar is the alumni network and CSO exchange network to build a stronger community of sustainability professionals in Singapore. We will also be focusing on measuring our impact and the outcomes of this program from Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3. And we are excited to be receiving applications from youths and mentors for this edition. Applications will officially open today after this event. We will be assessing the application and selecting participants by April. And the 6-month mentorship program will begin, and participants will be onboarded into this program by end of April. I'd like to conclude my remarks by thanking our strategic partners, Meta, OCBC Bank, MSC EcoFund, as well as the Climate Action SG Alliance, SPS for Sustainability and Environment, Mr. Bae-Yam Kim, and our academic partners, NUS Centre for Climate-Based Solutions, SUSS, Cambridge Centre for Advanced Research and Education in Singapore. And of course, our venue sponsor, Temasek Shop House, for hosting us in this wonderful location today. And of course, I would like to thank our EB Impact team and our eco-business team for putting all their hard work together to bring this event together. And thank you all again for joining us today. And I hope you find the conversations today very fruitful and exciting as well. I would now like to pass it back to Erin. Enjoy the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane, for opening up today's program. I'd now like to invite our guest of honor, SPS for Sustainability and the Environment, Mr. Bae-Yam Kim, to give the opening address.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'd like to give myself a little pat on the shoulder because that's just my little contribution to this event. I took the bus here just now, and I'll be taking the MRT back to my MSc office in Scotts Road. But I must do more. So must we all, right? Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here to launch the 3rd season of the Sustainability Exchange. I'm glad to learn that this initiative has grown over the years and continue to groom our youth to be ready for the green transition and a low-carbon future. Many of you would need no introduction to climate change and its devastating effects. With extreme weather conditions getting more frequent and intense, the need for climate action is more urgent than ever. Globally, climate action has been gaining momentum, but more can be done. Based on the report released by the United Nations last year, the world is bending the curve on greenhouse gas emissions downwards. However, we remain on track for 2.5 degrees Celsius of warming by the end of the century. Actually, not really on track. It's not on track, it's off track. Right? We are heading towards 2.5, so we are off track. And so this is a distance away from the 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius target under the Paris Agreement. So despite contributing only 0.1% of total global emissions, Singapore, as a very small nation, we are still very committed to doing our part for the global climate action. In 2021, we launched the Singapore Green Plan 2030, setting ourselves bold and ambitious targets in sustainable development. Last year, we raised our climate ambition to achieve net zero by year 2050. And we are among the few countries to submit our revised nationally determined contributions ahead of COP27. With these goals and plans in place, we are now pressing ahead with actions. For instance, the carbon tax will be progressively increased from next year onwards to encourage adoption of low-carbon solutions and improvements in energy efficiency. We are also implementing the disposable carrier bag charge from July this year. This we hope to promote responsible consumption of our limited resources. The world is transitioning towards a low-carbon economy. It is estimated that industries driving the global shift to net zero emissions could be worth up to $10.3 trillion by 2050. Singapore is riding the wave and harnessing sustainability as a new engine of growth. These includes positioning ourselves as a carbon services hub, a leading center for green finance, and regional center for developing new solutions. As we move towards the green economy, it is essential that our current and future workforce are equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge. Under the Enterprise Sustainability Program, the government is working with industry partners to help companies develop capabilities in sustainability. We are heartened to know that leaders in their respective fields have come on board the program to share their expertise and experience. Beyond developing our workforce, we need to build a pipeline of green talent that can ride on this momentum to accelerate the transition and to sustain our development towards a green nation. We have seen efforts to impart relevant skills and knowledge through formal education in the institutes of higher learning, but it is also imperative that youths are provided with the opportunities to address sustainability challenges in the real-world context. I'm heartened to know that EB Impact has been actively empowering our youths and developing their skill sets through its various initiatives, including the Sustainability Exchange, and now into its third season. The mentorship program has been a platform for youths to learn from sustainability professionals. This year, it will focus on addressing challenges in food production, urban planning, tourism, technology, sustainable consumption, and education. And all of these are very relevant to the Green Plan. So I'm glad that MSE's SG EcoFund is a strategic partner this time. So I know that Sustainability Exchange Season 3 will include new capacity building and networking components that will bring our aspiring youth solutions closer to fruition. Right? It's not just about planning, about the passion or interest, but it's about action. These sessions will benefit both current and past participants of the Sustainability Exchange. I urge youth and industry professionals and practitioners to sign up and be part of our larger continuity movement, our larger community movement to advance environmental sustainability in Singapore. Singapore is committed to doing our part for climate action. We have set ourselves ambitious goals and targets and are taking concrete actions to achieve them. As we transition to a low-carbon future, new growth opportunities will arise. Our current and future workforce need to be equipped with the right skills and knowledge to leverage these opportunities and remain relevant in the green economy. Our youth, who are our future, need to be given the opportunity to develop their capabilities, whether through formal training or hands-on experience. I thank EB Impact and your partners for your continued dedication in nurturing our youth, and I'd like to congratulate you on a successful launch, and I hope to see many responses right from the community, the youth, and the industry. And over long term, I hope our participants and mentors will apply your solutions in the community for greater impact. And to support you, the MSE SG EcoFund is available. We are here to provide resources for our participants to realize their projects developed through this program. So I'd like to thank the Sustainability Exchange for helping us to draw good projects, groom them, tap on the SG EcoFund, and we do more for our sustainability journey. So with that, I thank you, and I look forward to a meaningful afternoon with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SPS for Sustainability and the Environment, Mr. Bae-Yam Kang, for your opening address and for taking the time to join us today. I would now like to introduce our next speakers, Lee Tse Law and Kimberly Goh, alumni youth participants from Sustainability Exchange Season 2. Alongside their team members and mentor, their team under the project title Ecologue were one of 5 teams that were awarded funding from OCBC Bank at Season 2's final showcase. Since then, they have also gone on to obtain funding from the Ministry of Sustainability and the Environment's SG EcoFund as well. They are here today to share about their solution devised under this mentorship program, their journey and experience, and their plans to implement their project. Over to you, Kimberly and Lise.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Lisa, and this is Kimberly. So we are part of Ecologue, and here we want to share a bit about a project that we came up with over the past season of Sustainability Exchange. So given the problem statement from EB Impact, we actually devised an idea that we want to leverage on technology to democratize climate decisions, and we'll shortly share with you what's our idea. So actually, what we wanted to do first is actually get a sensing of what youths thought about how are they currently engaged with sustainability. So we should ask them whether they lead a project on climate awareness, whether they are currently joining seminars, upskilling themselves in terms of knowledge, whether they follow the news, or perhaps they do not even do such engagements. So actually we understood what their current level of knowledge and their engagement currently is, and actually these are the results that we got. So actually we can see there's actually quite a large range of people actually follow the news, but perhaps how do we get them to take the next step and actually get onto more action-based approaches, right? So I think this is the main target audience for our project. And so actually, we analyzed the problem and we saw the problem of engagement as something that is perhaps, we broke it down into these 3 areas. So transparency in terms of how do youths and consumers actually engage with businesses, and whether there's transparency with how businesses engage with sustainability, whether there is a consistent engagement with their consumers, through a back and forth dialogue, and a sense of ownership for the environment from consumers. So through identifying these 3 kind of problems, we actually came up with our idea, which is Ecologue. So we want to leverage on technology to actually help to fill in this gap. So I'll pass the time on to Kimberly to share more.
Okay, so with Ecologue, we're looking at 3 main prongs of approach, which is firstly participation, transparency, as well as capacity building. So with citizens themselves, we would like to allow them to have the platform to initiate their own projects, as well as be able to engage with companies, which I think is quite a rare feature. And in doing so, like maybe in the instance, if let's say you're a professional with like environmental experience or more technical type of expertise, you can sort of work with companies to further their sustainability agenda and goals as well. And then for companies themselves, right, we want to act as in middle ground for them to connect with like citizens and in particular youths themselves. And by doing so, we want them to also showcase like more accountability for the work that they do. And ultimately, I think with Ecologue, our main aim is to create like a public think tank of sorts, which is like entirely run by citizens and companies themselves, so that they can have a sense of ownership in whatever they do. Yes. Okay, so this is actually just a Zoom screenshot of our team. So last year, because we did this project last year when it was during COVID, so we didn't actually have much chances to meet up, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure with this year's Sustainability Exchange, with the restrictions lifting and everything, more youths can probably meet up with their mentors online and grab dinner or something like that. So this was us during our final pitch at Crane Living.
Yep, so actually just to give a short sharing, I think because we actually first met each other, we were complete strangers, and we actually met each other, and then I think the beauty of the Sustainability Exchange program is that the diversity of youths, because I come from an environmental studies, sustainability background, Kimberly comes from more of the marketing background, whereas our next team member, Tian Hui, who is not able to be here today, she actually comes from the business background. So I think the synergy of having that diversity of knowledge areas actually is what helped us to actually come up with different perspectives of how we see sustainability and kind of propose our ideas. So actually, how did we get from here? On the left, where we were really strangers, and then we came together to come up with our project. And yeah, we really enjoyed the project, and I think I'm really looking forward to the capacity building sessions that is in this season of EB Impact. I think capacity building in terms of how do we budget, how do we structure how do we make sure that what we propose is sustainable. I think that's really key, and I think I'm really heartened by what EB Impact is doing to develop the program to strengthen the capacity building for these participants. So you see here us on the right with our mentor, who is a professional in the sustainability space. He's a company called Hedge Blue, so he really has experience implementing, helping startups in the aquaculture industry. So we actually learned a lot from him, and I think, yeah, we all benefited from this. I think there's a lot of mutual learning as well, because while we learned from him, I think we also shared some of our more youthful perspectives to him as well. So yes. So actually, just to wrap up, I think we want to really show that our diverse interests actually what gives us strength. And I think, yeah. So I think thank you very much. And I think if we're actually very happy to share more details about our idea, you can approach us later, and perhaps you can also reach us on LinkedIn. So much thanks to Benedict and the EB Impact team for organizing the last season, and looking forward to the alumni networks, and I think interacting with the youths in this season as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lidze and Kimberly, for your sharing. I hope that their story and their journey also inspires some of the youths and mentors in our audience today to also apply for this upcoming season. I would now like to introduce the dialogue session for today. This panel discussion brings together youths who have founded their own sustainability initiatives, focusing on waste management and environmental education, as well as an advocate who rallies communities together to tackle the littering issue in Singapore. We are also joined by a Season 2 alumni mentor, a seasoned sustainability professional and academic. Joining me on the stage, please welcome Gerald Yep, Yasser Amin, Dr. Gadgil Abiruchi, and Cassandra Yip Lee, as well as Diana Anderson, who will be coming back to the stage to be moderating the session.
Thank you, Erin, and welcome everyone again. Good afternoon again to everybody here. I think there's a lot of familiar faces on stage here with me and also in the room as well. So it's really great to see everybody here for this conversation this afternoon. I think what's really great about who we have on the stage here today is we have somebody who has actually been a mentor for the Sustainability Exchange program, and we also have young people here who have done amazing work in Singapore in the ecosystem as well. So I'm really excited about this panel. Maybe before I go straight into it, I'll give a little bit of background about this panel discussion and why we brought the different people on stage here with me today. So I think we are living in a time where environmental degradation and climate change really sits at the forefront of the national agenda, the regional agenda, and of course, the global agenda as well. In addition to that, advocacy and activism efforts towards more sustainable future, we're seeing more and more of it is being done by youths, and more of it is being developed by youths and implemented by youths in innovative solutions that seek to address climate change issues. However, the issue that we also see is that youth-led innovation in fighting climate change really remains to be undervalued and also underfunded. Youths are driving force towards sustainable development. However, they are really navigating a rapid changing world. Hence, there needs to be more support for them and really needs to empower more agents out there to empower them further as well. So with that context in the back, I think this conversation is really a discussion to understand what will it take for youths to drive sustainability innovation, and how can we best support youth-led action to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So let's get straight into it. I would like to first maybe go down the line here and introduce my panel of speakers. Maybe just share your name, where you come from, and why you're excited to be here with us today. Maybe Abhi, we can start with you straight away.
Sure. So I'm Abhiruchi Gadgil. I'm a research fellow with Cambridge Cares. It's a Centre for CO2 Reduction. I have been a mentor in season 2, as they said, and it's been a wonderful experience, as Ecolog shared as well. The diversity of youth, the raw energy has been infectious, and they have so much to offer. And I think all it needs that a little bit of support from different parts of the society, maybe a little bit of funding, maybe a little bit of expertise sharing, and it can really propel a lot of beautiful solutions for the society. So I think that's why I'm here, and I'm super excited to be a part of it.
Over to you, Yasser.
Hi, Tess. Okay, hi, my name is Yasir. So I'm currently the Chief Strategy Officer at Stride, managing and leading the team. How I started in sustainability, I think I'm blessed to say that for me the start was pretty easy. All I did was to join a beach cleanup session. And I'm sure a lot of you might have experienced a beach cleanup session. So for me on that day, I saw that number one, there were people who take their free time out to do this on a Sunday morning. And I believe it was National Day. Number two, I saw the environmental degradation that was happening on our shores. So for me, I found it really easy to be compelled to do something more, which is to organize weekly cleanup sessions. So I quickly found that as a way for me to contribute in the local sustainability scene. So I found it really my space to be a community organizer. And one way or another, I'm now leading Stride, which is looking at inland waste management solutions, particularly littering, for example. Yeah.
Thank you. Gerald, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Gerald. I am, how do I put this? I'm the product innovation lead and the co-founder of Simula. And what we do in Simula, as you can see from my shirt, we collect plastic waste, we break it down, and we turn it into useful products that you can use. And if you want to have a look at what we do, there's 2 tables over there and a couple of stools that we did for Forward Coffee. Yeah. And yeah, so I think how I started on this journey, it started all the way back when I was in primary school. I think I was quite lucky to kind of find my path very early in life. Yeah, all the while I've been very interested in the environment and finding ways to make an impact. And along the way, I made many different friends and different contacts who are now part of my team over there. There's 2 of them over there. Yeah, they actually showed me that to drive impact is not just about it's not just like one-dimensional or two-dimensional. You have many different aspects that you have to fulfill. All right, and one of them is actually the commercial aspect, and that is why we decided that for us to be able to drive a lot of impact, we started a company that would focus on creating alternative materials for people to use. So it's not just about diverting waste, it's also about giving people an option to use something else from your standard like concrete or virgin material basically. Yeah. So that's my story, I think.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Hi everyone, my name is Cassandra. I am a final year environmental studies major at the National University of Singapore. On the side, I'm also the founder and CEO of Earth School Singapore, where we run environmental education lessons for children and youth. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here today to kind of share more about being a youth environmentalist in Singapore and how we can create more opportunities and champion that for a bigger audience as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for introducing yourselves. Maybe before we get started, I'm gonna ask the team to put up the slide up on the screen. So if you have any questions throughout the session, please do pop them into the Slido, and this goes for those of you online as well. We will get to them at the end of the session as well, okay? All right, let's get straight into it. So as you can see, we have a very exciting panel here. So maybe this first question, I'm gonna pass it over to Cassandra and Gerald first. As youths who have founded your own initiatives with Samula and Earth School Singapore, what inspired you to pursue these ideas, and what have been your biggest learning points in the process? Maybe Cassandra, we can start with you first.
Yeah, definitely. I think Earth School is really a manifestation of my two loves in life, which is the environment and really working with children. It was my COVID baby. We were in lockdown, and I was thinking, what could we do with all this free time? And that's how the idea of really running a school for environmental education really came about. It also stems a little bit from my own experiences growing up in Singapore. My parents were actually avid environmentalists. They met while scuba diving, so I grew up a lot by the beach and out at sea. And I never felt that it was really an opportunity to become an environmentalist in Singapore, not until I reached my undergraduate level when I found that, we actually have so much to conserve and so much natural heritage here. So I think that's how Earth School stemmed to be. I think we've been running for about 2 years now, and we've definitely run into a lot of challenges. But I think the lessons learned from these 2 years is really not to, give up on your dreams, and you have to be resilient in your goals, but also at the same time to be adaptable and flexible in the ways about how you achieve them. I think those are my main 2 learning points.
Thank you. I think for myself, like I mentioned earlier, my whole journey started when I was in primary school, and I think it's quite a strange story. I think I was in primary 3 or primary 2 where my teacher was telling us, oh, you got to save electricity, because you got to run out. And at that point in time, I was thinking, oh no, if there's no more electricity, I can't play Pokemon anymore. So I decided I need to think of a way to find a sustainable source of energy. Primary 3, I couldn't think of anything, right? But for some reason, that thought stuck with me throughout my education journey, and I was trying to figure out a way all the way, right? But as I progressed along, I realized that environmental issues are not just energy related. There's many other things that we need to consider as well. And so we tried many things at the start. I had a very small team at the start. It was just myself and another guy. We were trying to make aircons, but unfortunately, we didn't have enough technical expertise to do so. Actually, a lot of credit to where I am today, it goes to one of my team members. Actually, he's sitting there with a very nice batik shirt. He's from my reservist, actually, from my NS days. And I met him in reservist, right? The first time I met him in reservist, I told him my story. Second time I met him, I told him the same story. Then he said, why are you telling me the same story again? Let's do something. So I like, okay, let's try something, right? And we realized that the current idea wasn't working. So we had to pivot a bit here and there. And moving from one idea to the next, we finally came across something that we could do, right? And that was the most important for us because we wanted to get something off the ground quickly and something that we could quickly drive some impact there. And that was plastic recycling, right? We came across a video by Precious Plastics on YouTube, learned some of their, some of the things that they were putting out there, and we saw that, hey, there's some kind of space here in Singapore that we could fulfill, and we decided to just try something. But that, of course, led to many, many years of still trying. That was like 2017, 2018, I think, and we were trying until around like 2020 or 2021, where the more senior people came into the team, right? I say senior in terms of age, right? So I think all of us, at the point in time, we were all kind of in the same age group, in the same mindset. And I think the good thing about this was when our new members came along, they came along with the experience that they brought, like 20 years of corporate experience, they actually understood what was required to push this into actual business. And yeah, and I guess along the way we still made a lot of amazing partners that help us to find our footing and all that kind of stuff. And I would say one of the very heartening things that we learned was that there is a cry by the industry for sustainable solutions. At first we thought, oh, we're going to have a problem trying to find people to wash bottles and give it to us. But actually, there were people saying, hey, do you take my bottles or not? Right? Or, yeah, can I give you my bottles, that kind of stuff. And they were all very willing to wash them. A lot of credit goes to Forward Coffee as well, because they're one of our first partners, and they are still giving us a lot of their bottles, so we're very appreciative of that. And that has allowed us to, yeah, I guess, grow, and of course, hopefully continue to grow and continue to drive more impact. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you both for sharing. And I think it's quite interesting that the both of you really kind of stems from your early years and your childhood, kind of that interaction into sustainability, into the environment is very core and very important. Maybe we can take a step back now and really kind of understand a little bit more what are some of the opportunities for youths to develop new sustainability innovations out there. And maybe I'll pass this question over to you, Abi. What are some of the opportunities for youths to develop new sustainability innovations? Where are the gaps in the market for youths to come in and contribute their ideas in?
Honestly, the gaps are everywhere. So I think wherever you are, whatever you're studying, there is a very high chance that you can come up with a project or an idea or a solution which can essentially be involve sustainable mindset, so to say. That being said, as Gerald just pointed out, that it's the point is here is that I think sustainable consumption, that is one really good area, because people are wanting solutions. They want to really, they are aware, as I think OCBC study showed a few years back, that the Singaporean society is extremely well aware of the problems in sustainability or climate change. The point now is to how should they adopt it. So I think that translation of how to adopt the solution, anything in that area, any project in that domain would really be useful for encouraging adoption. Another would be, I would say, sustainability communication. I think there is a huge opportunity to communicate sustainability in a good way, because there is a lot of panic, there are a lot of questions. So if youth can come up with, and the youth have the pulse of the society, they are the ones who are going to, the next generation who is going to face the brunt of it, sort of. So taking it out in a positive manner, taking it out in a way where people can start adopting it. Sustainability communication, education, what she's doing, there's a huge gap in sustainability education as well. So I think all of these areas, which are all, and technology, of course, technological innovations are definitely the sort of the deep tech is really, really going to be important, because I think universities support that. Lots of university courses are coming up for that as well. So I think all of these areas are definitely worth exploring. Yeah.
Thank you, Abby. And I think some of these areas we will be exploring in season 3 of the Sustainability Exchange. Maybe this could be some advice for some future participants out there. And Gerald, I'm gonna arrow you for this 2-part question, okay? So from the first part, from your perspective in scaling Semula, from ideation phase to now a fully operating company, what are some of the challenges you faced?
Okay, so I think some of the challenges that we faced very early on was to get projects, right? I think if you don't have projects, you don't have people buying your stuff, then you don't have a business, right? So I think for the youths out there who are trying to do something, trying to start something, the most important thing for you to do is to really find someone who is willing to take that first step with you, right? To get a project done and to get something done, basically. Right? You can do all the planning you want in the world. You can sit there and think about, I need a HR department, I need a finance department, and all this kind of funny stuff. But as long as you don't sell anything, you don't have a business to run, right? So that is very important. And that is also where you need to start to think about, what are you trying to sell? Are you trying to sell something that you want, or you know, sell something that the consumers want, right? Because I mean, I think that if I put it into an analogy, right? Everybody in this room, I don't have to convert you all, right? All of you are already climate people, right? You believe that you need to do something for the planet. I think the people that you need to think about very clearly, you need to identify are the people who do not believe in this movement. Those are the people that you need to reach out to, right? And you may be wondering, how do I do that? So if I can give one more example, I just want to ask, I mean, if you can answer, just shout it out. Do you think Apple is an environmental company? Apple, sustainable company? No, right? They make phones. They make phones and all that kind of stuff. But I will tell you right now that they did something that was very, very good for the environment, and most of us don't even know what they did. And that was they invented iTunes. Okay, iTunes shows how old I am, but Apple Music right now they use, right? Because once they invented iTunes, or once they started to launch that, nobody use CD-ROMs anymore, or CDs anymore, or whatever thing that they use, right? And that eliminated so much waste. Eliminated so much waste in the environment. Then it came Steam. You play games, right? Steam is another digital platform that you can go there and buy games on. And I don't think that the person who invented Steam was sitting there, I'm going to save the environment. No, they just thought of a way to deliver a service or a product to the consumer in a very efficient way. And by doing so, you convert even the people who don't care about the environment. So I think you're like sneakily trying to convert them, right? Which is in a way what we believe to be the right way for us to run our business, which is why we focus a lot on the material that we are building, or material that we are producing. We're trying to ensure that the material is something that designers or architects want to use because it looks good, or because it fits their purpose. And then we tell them, oh, by the way, it's green. And then they walk, yes, I can get the certification, right? So I think that is very important. Yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, no, maybe just kind of bringing a more general angle as well. What do you think are some of the obstacles that are currently standing in the way for youths to develop their ideas further from ideation stage? Because I think, luckily I'm still a youth, so I can say this. Being a youth myself, I think I have all these ideas, but sometimes just getting that idea out there is quite difficult, right? What do you think is stopping that?
I see. Okay. So I think in terms of challenges, many youths may face. I don't know about many youths, but when I was a youth, hopefully I'm still a youth. The challenges that I faced myself was trying to do everything by myself at the start, right? Or having a team that wasn't diverse enough, that we could all bring on board different ideas or different channels to get things out there, right? And also not knowing kind of like the structure of how to do certain things, because I mean, for us, we are a product company. We've been testing products for a while now, and I think one of the fears that we had was, are we breaking the law or not? Right? Like one of our earlier ideas was actually to try to convert coffee waste or coffee grounds into like like combustible briquettes. Is it briquettes? Briquettes for barbecue or whatever, right? And we were doing that. We were worried that we were breaking like some fire code or something. And so we scrapped the idea after my neighbor complained that I was smoking up her house. But I think those are some of the challenges that many of us would face. We are not sure, or I wasn't sure of what kind of regulatory restrictions there were. And I didn't really have a team at that point in time. Slowly, as a team grew and people from different backgrounds joined the team, things got much easier. I think, yes, those are the two main challenges, yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience as well. Yes, sir, maybe I'll move on to you now. So someone that's been in the space for a while, and I think you're very much entrenched in the space, how do you think youths are contributing to climate action in their regions and in their communities?
That's a good question. So if you look at the region and compare it to Singapore, it gets quite different. So in Singapore, I think it's, we all know that the political climate might not be the most accommodating for quote unquote hard advocacy. So in Singapore, when it comes to advocacy work, climate action, it might look different than other countries. You know, we cannot do rallies, for example. And then in Singapore, you can see some innovative ways that climate action shows up. And what I've been introduced to at the start was just how welcoming the community has been when it comes to online advocacy. So a lot of the first friends that I've made in the community scene were people who are doing amazing work in Instagram. So climate action and climate communication through artwork, through advocacy work on Instagram. And that was one thing that occurred to me at the start, because when we see news articles about climate action, climate work overseas, you don't see just posts that go around. What you see is on-the-ground action. So for me, that was interesting to see. And that helped me translate my work realize my space in climate action, because what I did and what I still do is organize beach cleanups. But at the start, it didn't occur to me that was climate work. But the fact that I brought together a bunch of people in the climate space, that got me to realize that that's actually climate work. So yeah, that's been very interesting to see how that differs from overseas. So yeah.
Thank you, Yasser. Maybe we can just stick with you here, and Abi, maybe you can chime in on this as well. Which interventions or support do you think are required to scale up and sustain these contributions to climate change and sustainability innovation in the space?
So early on, we were wondering if policy work it does a lot of work in this, but we sort of agreed that interventions in the form of resources directly enabling youths, that's where it helps the most. And one good example is what Sustainability Exchange is doing. Another example I thought of was how YSLE, Youth Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, how the direct resources from US Embassy comes into the region and enables youths to be exposed to many different situations and learn a lot. I think that those are one of a few ways. And SPS, you mentioned about SG EcoFund, that's another great one that locals can apply for and receive resources that funds their initiatives. Yeah, Abi?
Yeah, I think in terms of interventions, these are the things where we are essentially forming youth communities, and organizing more youth conferences, getting them together on different platforms such as Sustainability Exchange and a lot others. In terms of policies, nothing concrete. I think it's hard to pinpoint something, but I think has to be the youth have to have a seat at the table, so to say. And I recently read this term called youth washing, like the greenwashing. And what it is called, it essentially means is that we are kind of including youth, but not really giving them enough attention, or we're not really taking their opinions so seriously. So I think that needs to sort of come down as the youth are. Of course, youth need to be mentored and groomed as well, but I think there's so much that you can take from them, and they can be a huge part of forming policies. So I think that should be, in terms of policies, I think giving them a seat at the same table in some different form, that would be an option.
May I add on to that? So from what Abi has mentioned, I'm giving youth a seat at the table. From my personal experience, it's been very heartening to know that government organizations, they're very much open to working with youth. For example, dialogue sessions with MSE. For STRIDE, the data that we collect for cleanups, when we visualize data impact or impact through cleanups, we're able to go to Public Hygiene Council, we're able to go to the National Environmental Agency, we're able to work with them and see how we can better enable these data to solve certain issues. So it's very heartening as a youth to see that government organizations are open and welcome to these many different collaborations and feedback from the youth. So I think that's very important. And I imagine it might not be the same in many other regions around the world. So yeah.
No, thank you, Yasser and Abi. And maybe Abi, I'll stick with you because I think you've been in this space for a while and you've done quite a lot of research around it as well. What are some of the approaches do you think that have been actually successful?
I think, again, I'll point back to Sustainability Exchange again, because it's one of its kind. And so I think the approach where it works for youth is to have a diverse team. you need to make sure that as he said, the moment the seniors came into picture, there was a different sort of expertise that came in. So you need to have a team from different perspectives. You also need to have financial support, of course, and strong community where the community is trying to adopt the solutions that youth are trying to sort of give as well. I think there has to be that normally we always talk about support from the society, from the governments and institutions or corporates, but I think sustainability is just one of those topics where you need support from the community, and you need to have that as well. So yeah.
Thank you, Abby. Cassandra, I'm going to come back to you. I think being somebody that's still in university and you've had great success in kind of bringing your voice out there and bringing kind of more youth voices out there as well, I think it's become very apparent that youths are actually quite concerned that their contributions made by individuals were insignificant compared to the actions taken by corporations and governments. I think as somebody that's been in this space for a while now, what do you think stands out about young people's vision for climate change, and how can we ensure that more of their voices are heard?
Definitely. First of all, that's a really tough question. I had a professor, Professor Michael Manietz. He's down at the Yale NUS College, and he coined this term called the individualization of responsibility. And basically what it talks about is about how big corporations, governments, instead of looking at the internal policies or the way that they do things, they instead shift the narrative onto the consumers. Why are you not recycling more? Why are you not, taking more public transport? Why is it on me and what I do, right? And I think a big part of, amplifying youth voices is that we stop bickering among ourselves as well, and stop subjecting one another on what it is to be a perfect environmentalist or to that blame game between us. And instead, empower one another to really, grow our impact and take part in each other's, activities and initiatives as well. And I also think that's what's the most special about being a youth environmentalist and having a voice at this age. I think that really boils down to us really being perhaps very woke about things, that our viewpoints and our ideas about what is right and what is wrong is not set in stone. And we have a lot of ability we have the capacity to really learn more about the intersections of environment and really help each other, champion that a little bit better as well. So yeah.
Thank you, Cass. So sorry for the difficult questions. I think you answered it beautifully, though. So, Yasser, I think this is my final question for you. I think youth in climate action does not necessarily have to involve innovation or ideation of new solutions, but it can also, more importantly, have also advocacy to it. What are some key challenges to climate action? Given such challenges, what support is required for youth to participate effectively in climate action from an advocacy perspective?
Good question. So I always feel like when it comes to advocacy and sustainability communication, the reach seems to always stop short of people in the sustainability scene. And so it gets a bit harder to reach out to the uninitiated. And that's something that I've always struggled with, because it's always the same people turning up for the same beach cleanups, the same sustainability events, so it's the familiar faces all around. So that's where I think I'm still struggling with how to reach out to this, especially youths. And it doesn't always have to be an innovative solution. Sometimes it's simple solutions. So one thing that I always go back on is, when I'm thinking of this issue, is there's this term or idiom in Malay. It's called tak kenal maka tak cinta. And if you translate it to English, it means you can't love what you don't know. So, and also, Gerald, you mentioned something about sneakily getting people on board. I found it very easy to sneak that in because people turn up for beach cleanups, and the focus is beach cleanups, but they're also experiencing nature. So I'm a strong advocate for like letting nature do the work to initiate people into sustainability. Because if you go to any nature location and you see the degradation that happens, people, I think they realize. So that's one easy way, and it's a simple solution, I feel sometimes. So yeah, in my way, I just get people to do cleanups, and they care more about sustainability. And the thing is, like for corporates, they always have certain hours to clock in, certain CSR hours. So that's how we get them hooked onto. Yeah.
No, it's very true. And if you want to set up a cleanup, please hit up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Last question here before I pass it over to our audience. If you have a question burning inside of you and it's on the Slido, don't worry, we're going to give you a chance to also ask it here. Abi, I'm going to come over to you. As a previous mentor in the Sustainability Exchange program, what support do you think is needed to enhance the skills and capacity of youths to become leaders in the sustainability space?
So I think the two most sort of obvious answers are mentorships and funding. That's definitely there. But I think another skill set which is kind of necessary across all sustainability professionals or not, whoever is trying to come up with a project in sustainability is sort of exposing them to what we call systems thinking. So whenever you're planning any project, we need to sort of educate that we need to see the project from cradle to cradle. We really need to make sure that every aspect from the sourcing of the materials to where the waste is going needs to be taken care of. And so I think that it's sort of a capacity building as we are thinking about as well. Another thing is to understand whenever you are, again, you want to go out and, as he said, you want to tell them if it is, how does it impact the environment, what is the profitability. So you need to make sure that the youth know how to calculate the impact on the environment, impact on the society, impact of the economics. So you don't see the project in one funnel of economics, but you intentionally talk about environment and social aspects first, because you can always come up with an NGO concept. You don't have to come up with a solution which is a business solution as such. So intentionality in terms of bringing in the environmental and social parameters, I think, is super important, and to be educated across all disciplines, domains. It's a commonality that can bring in. And of course, I think the funding like SG EcoFund and more of those would help. And mentorships which are deeper, longer, because I think a lot of good solutions come over a period of time. They don't come overnight. So we really want them to start off on a solid footing, but then you want them to have lasting mentorships. So good mentorships program across like EB Impact, and then further on maybe corporates can take it up, or some other institutions as well, where they are lifted up and the project is enhanced and deepened.
Thank you, Avi, and thank you for panelists. I'm going to pass it over to the audience. I think Erin has a mic, or not. But if anybody has any questions in the audience, let me know. Otherwise, I can go into the Slido. Any takers? No? Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to go with this question. I thought this was quite an interesting question. I think this more goes to the three youths. Share the biggest challenges that you faced in the first 3 months of starting your organization, and how did you overcome it? I will let whoever wants to answer.
One challenge immediately popped into mind, and so what I still do is communicate about environmental cleanliness, be it whether it's your urban locations or coastal locations. So one thing I found, and when it comes to climate communication, there's a lot of emotions involved in order to communicate effectively, at least it is for me. So I found it a bit hard to communicate my emotions and put it out there. And maybe this ties in with eco-anxiety. So I found it really hard to put into words what I'm experiencing, what I'm feeling, and what people should do about it. Because as someone who's starting and seeing just how big the issue is, for me it was quite scary. And to communicate that fear was really hard. So I think that's something I faced early on, which maybe in a sense I'm still facing, but I'm learning. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen with like the other organizations here, it's really impossible to do it alone. I think when I first started off of school, the first 3 months was really thinking about who can I ask to be part of my team and can really join in this effort and really trying to communicate what our school is and what it stands for to these people and convince them to come on board with me. I've had an incredible team since then. But yeah, I think the first 3 months was mainly about building up your own internal capacities. Yeah.
I think I share many of the same challenges that both of you faced. So I'm not sure if I can give a more unique perspective, but I'll try. Okay. So I think one of the other challenges that we face, because I think I mentioned earlier, like this has been going on for some time, and actually in I think 2018 or 2019, I can't remember the year, maybe 2017, can't remember the year, but my team and I, that time were just myself and one guy, we got a grant from SIT, Singapore Institute of Technology, to do like a prototype for the aircon, right? And at that point in time, I was working a full-time job, and I thought that, yes, I've made the big time. I'm going to go in there and resign tomorrow. What a bad mistake. I shouldn't have done that. So I did that. I resigned. I thought that now I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to go and, go and IPO in the next year, right? And then we tried that for a while, and I think my biggest challenge for the first 3 months was to find work to do, right? So that was, I think, also a very big learning for myself to understand that, at the end of the day, business is more than just an idea that you come up with. There's entire ecosystem, living thing. There's a lot of things that you need to put into it, and you have to make sure that obviously you got work to do. If not, you're just sitting there burning your capital, right? So I think that was one of my biggest challenges, I think.
Thank you. I think I'll just take one more question. Oh, okay. I'll just take one more question from this, and I think this kind of leads up to what we've discussed as well here, right? Adding more team members, making sure that you're allowing there to be diversity in your team. So with more and more personalities joining your team and your organization, what are some measures that you put in place to ensure that there's continuity in your organization and in the work that you're currently doing? Abhi, I think you maybe can share a little bit as well here, especially with the Sustainability Exchange program as well, and then maybe can pass it over to them.
So yeah, I think the diversity was actually the USP of our team. I absolutely enjoyed all the team members. They gelled well together, and not out of fluke, I would imagine. Because I think they all brought their unique perspectives to the project. One was from social work background, one was from business, one was from finance, and one was from engineering, which are extremely diverse topics, and to come up with a solution. But I think I'm saying it was not because of a fluke, because they had a common, extremely common thread, which was their love for nature or doing something. There's a sense of purpose. So they had a huge sense of purpose, and that tied them together, and they were just snowballing after that. So I think the moment you bring diverse teams, what you get in a sustainability program or a sustainability project, if they are passionate about sustainability, you get a team which really brings in unique perspectives. And I shared with him incidents just a few minutes back before this session was that the student who was doing social work, she always brought about the perspective of what does it do to the society. Any project that we talked about a 15, 20 projects, and we narrowed down over a period of time to one. So her question always was, what is it in for the society? and which was beautiful because everybody had to think deeper as to, oh, what is it? What is it for the society here? So I think that's what diversity brings. When you have common passion, diversity can go really wrong as well if you have very, very different personalities and no common thread to take them along. But I think in projects like this where they have a common passion, it works beautifully.
Thank you. Anything to add?
Maybe I'll add something. I think for ourselves in Semula, a few ways that we tried to do that we tried to maintain the cohesiveness of the team was to ensure that all of us had the same goal, same passion, and the same kind of values, right? So definitely all our personalities will be different, right? But the most important thing is, at the end of the day, after, even if we had an argument or we did not agree on certain things, we can always fall back onto, so what are the company values, right? You don't cheat on your own values, right? You just fall back on that, and we can come to agreement based on that. Another way is try to eat lunch with your team. So we eat lunch in a lot. Thankfully, most of our team members, like I said, they're mostly from the senior category, right? So they got a lot of rice cookers and microwaves to donate to us. So yeah, we regularly cook in, and I think sharing a meal together with the team actually really helps you to have some common ground at the end of the day. So maybe you cannot eat lunch with your team members, never mind, do something, right? And that will be where you get to know each other, not as a colleague, but as a person as well, right? And you get to understand. Sometimes your colleagues may not have maybe last night their 2-year-old woke them up. You can't expect them to come in while they smell very happy. Yeah, no, right? You must understand. I mean, from that kind of perspective, you get to understand the person, and you also get to understand that it's not personal, right? Don't take things too personally, right? We just try to be open-minded, and through that, I think having a diverse team, you are able to accept the different kinds of personality traits that we all have, but at the same time also tap onto each other's strengths and move forward to that common goal. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wanting to add anything? I think I've heard passion, and I think that's great to hear as well. Would you like to add anything, Cass?
Yeah, perhaps I'll share a little bit. As a youth-run organization, I think my entire team are all still in school. It's great because not only do I get to work with, such incredible and bright minds with so many incredible ideas, I think the team challenges each other. We're always asking each other, why are we doing this? What is the purpose? What kind of impact will we have? And is there a better way to go about doing this? We've had several projects come in, we've closed projects, and we've always learned from that, we've redeveloped that, improved on that, and there's always a bigger thing and a bigger goal to work towards. But also, I understand as a student myself, the beauty about running a youth-run organization or in a startup style is that we can afford to have certain we can afford to give them a little bit more leeway, among our team. If we have assignments coming up, if it's exam season, or if we have other personal things to attend to. And I think the team works well in the way that we support one another. We pick up the work here and there for each other to kind of achieve our goals. So yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you. Yasser, would you like to add anything?
I think for me, recently I found the magic of flexi-remote working, and that's been the same for the rest of the Stride team. And I'm saying this not as just flexi-remote is the best way to work, and no, everyone has their own. But what I found is I am my best when I'm allowed to do everything else other than sustainability work as well. So I cannot be focused entirely on sustainability because I need to take my mind off things. And I found that my other team members find the same way as well. They feel the same way as me because they have time for other things. And to add on to your point, that remote flexi work comes with lesser physical meetings, but physical meetings are very, very important. That's how I see my team, and that's how it happens. On a holistic view, climate action is even more of climate action when you come together physically. I forgot that when it was during the COVID season, but now that things are opening up and events like this are happening, I feel like collaborations are happening more. because we're seeing each other in person, and I really, really like that. So, yeah.
Yes, no, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I think I'm just going to end it with one final question, and we'll make this snappy and quick. I think, what is it that you want to say to other youths out there on how to get involved in the sustainability space, with an innovation that they may have? What is that one thing that you want to share with them? Maybe we can start with Cassandra and make our way down here.
I know this might sound a little bit cliche, but there's no better time than to start now. Yeah.
I think if you are a youth with an idea and you want a place to start, you don't know how to start, right? So one very good place to go is go to your local town council or RC, or CC or whatever, Many of them actually have green groups, and we've worked with many of these green groups, so we know. And they are always saying that, we don't have young people anymore. So all the young people out there, if you have anything that you think you can contribute to, that's a great place to start. And also that's a place where you get to learn about access to all these different grants, different kinds of help, assistance kind of schemes that help you to get started on a journey, right? If your objective is to start something, that's the best place to go, I think. Yeah. Oh, you already have, sorry.
I think that many youth might be a bit hesitant to start doing sustainability work or contributing because they might not feel like it's impactful, or they might not feel like what they're doing is right. But what I want to say is that just take the leap of faith, because you never know what happens and how impactful your contributions are. And no one is the most perfect environmentalist or sustainability person. We just show up in our own ways and our best capabilities, and we do what we can. And I think that's what more youth should realize.
I will stand for the academia and I'll say do a PhD because I think there is so many projects and there is so much funding available right now for anything and everything sustainability, really. There is every single field you can think of, there is enough funding for you to really go in deep, find solutions over a period of time and produce amazing work. So that would be my suggestion to the youth.
Thank you so much, and thank you panelists, and thank you audience, online and in person as well, for your amazing questions. I hope you found this conversation fruitful and exciting as I did. I'm going to pass it over back to Erin to take us through the rest of the agenda for today. Let's give the panelists a round of applause.
Thank you, Gerald, Cassandra, Abi, Yasser, for sharing your stories and for taking part in our panel discussion today. And again, thank you to Diane for moderating as well. And of course, thank you to our audience for all your questions. I would now like to invite Amy Ho, Director of Sustainability at the National University of Singapore and member of our steering committee this year, to come to the stage and give the closing remarks.
SBS, Mr. Bae Yen King, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to draw this occasion to a close. Aaron will follow later with some administrative details to ask all the youths to come apply for the Sustainability Exchange Season 3. I'm excited about Season 3, not just because I'm, in the steering committee together with Dr. Abil, but because the organizers, which is mainly just Deanne and Aaron, and they've put in so much work into this, but they have actually took all the inputs and the feedback from the past season participants, and also, infuse it, to make this Season 3 a lot more exciting. Building on the very successful mentorship program that has been a cornerstone for the past 2 seasons, what they've also done is that they kind of ensured that there would be a vibrant exchange, that the youth participants, would be exposed to the best practices in the marketplace, in the government sector, and also, be aware of the emerging innovations that they can take and incorporate into the proposals. And as mentioned earlier, there is now, thanks to the MSE EcoFund, the 3 capacity building workshops where participants could bounce off their ideas, and refine their proposals before submitting. And for this season, I think they've also extended the period that the participants could work on the proposals from the initial 3 months to a longer 6 months. So the expectation is higher that, we are looking, for solutions that would be more considered, that will be more rigorous. And I'm sure that a lot of the youth participants would rise up to the occasion. And the third component is to enhance the networking opportunities, because, you're not just, the youth participants will not just be able to interact with their industry or government mentors, but at the CSO exchange, they will be able to meet a broader panel of chief sustainability officers as well as sustainability professionals. So all of this are, meant to equip the participants so that, they can be more confident, when presenting their proposals at the finals. And as part of the steering committee, we've also, brainstormed quite a bit about what the problem statements for season 3 would be like. I think we loosely based on the Skills Future Singapore report on the green economy and the jobs that will be available out there, but we also took into account what are some of the topics of interest, to the youth, relating to sustainable living, relating to, pertinent engineering or even social issues out there. And we heard also from the past participants that they may want a little bit more flexibility in formulating their own problem statements. So that particular consideration is also infused in season 3. So all in all, you can see that, it's there's no better opportunity than to take part in season 3. I've also been a judge in the past season, so I've been impressed by the proposals. Not only were they innovative, but there was a lot of rigor. There was a lot of research that went into it, and it's grounded by industry feedback. So I'm expecting to see, similar or if not even, better applications on proposals this time. So I just want to close by just encouraging all the youths, to be bold. When you apply, be bold in coming up with the problem statements and what you want to tackle. They may not be easy solutions, but think out of the box, push the boundaries if you can. I also encourage you, to dig deeper. Don't, just, go beyond the whys, the what ifs, and look at, the issue from different angles. And as many of the discussants and the panel members have brought up, is to be open to diverse views. Appreciate what every member in your group will bring to the table. And then involve the multiple stakeholders. Go, beyond, seek, unconventional views, and question, why not? So I hope that, this particular season, we will even see, a greater number of applications, and I hope that all of you, would have fun, would enjoy the journey, and come on board, please. Thank you all.
Thank you, Amy, very much for your closing remarks. And thank you to all of our speakers who have joined us today. And of course, to our guest of honor, SPS for Sustainability and the Environment, Mr. Bae-Yam Kang, for sharing today and for being part of the event. I'm excited to now announce the official call for applications for Season 3 of Sustainability Exchange. For all interested youths and mentors, if you'd like to find out more about the program and the criteria, and also to submit your application, please head over to the EB Impact website, or you can also scan the QR code that you see on the screen. Applications are open from now until 4th of April. As mentioned by Diane and Amy as well, and some of our speakers today, in addition to the mentorship pillar, we're also excited to introduce the capacity building workshops as part of the mentorship program to further upskill and support the participating youths in their sustainability journeys. For our alumni participants and the wider community, we also look forward to building an alumni network and deepen the connections forged throughout the last 2 seasons of Sustainability Exchange. You can learn more about the program and more details about these different pillars by visiting us on our website or again by scanning the QR code on the screen. I'd like to again thank our strategic partners Meta, SG EcoFund, and OCBC Bank, as well as the Climate Action Singapore Alliance for their continuous support in this program. We would also like to thank our knowledge partners for this season and our steering committee members from the National University of Singapore, the Singapore University of Social Sciences, the Cambridge Centre for Advanced Research and Education in Singapore, the NUS Centre for Nature-Based Climate Solutions, and EcoBusiness for lending us your expertise and knowledge to support the development of Season 3. Lastly, again, we'd like to extend a big thank you to Temasek Shophouse for being our venue sponsors for this event and the program and for providing this space for us today. I hope that our guests, both in person and online, who are with us, have learned something this afternoon and have been inspired to participate in the upcoming season. We've come to the end of the event, and I'd like to open up the floor for the networking session. For our in-person guests, drinks and snacks are available at the back to the left. Thank you all. Have a lovely evening and great weekend ahead.